And welcome back to the most listened to golf podcast in Australia. This is Talk Birdie to Me, and it's week 21 of the golfing year. Today we're live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of Golf Australia and the PGA of Australia. And as usual, a big thanks to the team at Ping. They'll help you play your best. You can see your local golf shop or professional to arrange a Ping club fitting. And the new Watch My Numbers app. It's the most powerful database golf app in the world. You can download from the App Store or Google Play. Play smarter and use your data. And the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Drop in to see them in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Perth, or online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. Okay, on with the show. Former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn and former tour pro Mark Allen. This is Talk Birdie to Me.
So I want to ask you a stupid question, Nick.
How many stupid questions?
Oh, sorry, I'll rephrase it. I want to ask you another stupid question,
Okay.
Nick. Have you ever been to a police cell handcuffed before a round of golf?
No, but I came very close after a round of golf.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Hang on a second.
Hang on.
Hang on.
Oh, I didn't expect this. What happened?
I thought I might have told you this before, but maybe I haven't. So,
Oh, you definitely haven't.
No.
We'd remember.
I have not
Okay.
heard this story.
2007, well match play.
Yeah.
Tucson, Arizona. I've beaten Tiger Woods.
Oh, this is after you beat
After
Tiger?
I've beaten Tiger Woods. In the following round, I'm playing Henrik Stenson.
Oh, my.
I'm one up with two to go.
Yeah.
Bogey the last two holes to lose one down, and I am ropeable.
Filthy.
Headless. Now, the golf course is out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm in my courtesy car. I think it might have been a Lexus at the time, actually.
Yeah. To explain to people in these tournaments, every
Yeah.
professional gets a car.
Gets
to
a
drive for
courtesy
the week.
car.
Yeah.
And there's a nice sign on the side of it saying World Golf
Yeah.
Championship or USPGA Championship, whatever it is. And I've got my little PGA Tour card, around my neck because I've come straight from the golf course. And
Don't tell me you went to a park and started doing donuts or something.
No, I did something worse. I've turned the corner. I'm on the way back to the hotel, and it's this long stretch of road, and it's 40 mile an hour, and there's no one around, and I am ropeable.
Yeah.
And I thought, screw it. I floored it. I mean, I pumped this thing. I was doing at least 80, maybe 90 mile an hour down the road, something
So
like
what's that,
that.
150 clicks?
It's going, but in this car, it didn't feel like much, and there's no one around. And anyway, in the distance behind me, the blue lights start flashing, and I've gone, oh, no. How did this guy spot me? So anyway, I pull over, and he comes, and it's, Sheriff Buford, T. Roscoe, whatever.
Yeah.
He comes up, and he sort of steps back, looks at the car, and he winds, got to wind down the window, license and registration, hand it over, and he says, do you know you were speeding? I said, yes, officer, I certainly do. And he goes, oh, okay, well, was there any reason? I said, well, you're not going to believe this. I was really upset. I'm playing the golf tournament, the match play. I just got beaten. I shouldn't have, so I thought, screw it. I'm going to let it loose.
You told the police officer that.
I told him the truth. And he looked at me. He said, oh, you were playing in the match play? I said, yeah, I beat, I dropped it. I did. I dropped it. I said,
You beat Tiger
I
yesterday?
beat Tiger yesterday. I just lost to Henrik Stenson, and I just said, hey, do you play golf? He said, a little bit, but, I got my buddies that are working the tournament. I'm just sort of hanging around doing other things. And I said, I really apologise, but as you can understand, if you're a golfer, he says, yeah, I guess you would have been frustrated. And he looked at me, he says, in the state of Arizona, if you do more than 20 mile an hour over the speed limit, I can take you to jail right now. He said, you were doing 40 to 45 mile an hour. He said, I really should cuff you right now and take you in.
Are you kidding me?
He said, but you were honest about it. There was no one around. Just slow down as you go to your hotel. I didn't even get a speeding ticket.
Unreal.
Wow.
So good, Nicholas. I love that story.
Jeez.
Anyway, but
Very good.
okay. I've told mine. I've got to ask you. You were in the States for quite a while. Have you ever been
Yeah.
in jail? You have?
Yeah, I was
in the US?
I was in jail within 3 months of being there as a kid in college.
Oh, go on.
But look, well, I didn't have a car, but I borrowed a friend's car to go and see somebody, and I was driving home at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And, we from the left lane turn right.
Yes.
Over there, I was in the right lane turning left, but I had an Australian road flashback, and instead of turning left into the right lane, I turned left into the left lane. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I knew I was in the wrong, but it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And there was this, I don't know, there's a big kind of a barrier between one side of the road and the other, and there was no cars in front of me, and I knew if I just kept on going, I'd be right. Anyway, I was going, and a police car saw me going down the wrong side of the road. So the lights go on, and I am young enough, 18, and stupid enough to think that I was pretty close to home, and that car had to do a big U-turn, right? So I felt like I had about a 2-minute head start on the police.
Okay.
So I rip it home, park in the spot, turn the car off, turn the lights off, run upstairs into the apartment, and look out the window.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
It's a big call.
Look out the window. Anyway, the cops turned up about 10 minutes later. So they were looking for it. I lost them, but they were looking for me. And one guy just got out of the car, walked up to the car, put his hand on the bonnet. It was warm. I parked in apartment 4. So they just came straight up to apartment 4.
Okay.
Anyway, I opened up the door, owned up.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Come with me, son. You've done the wrong thing." So cuffed, frog marched into the back of the car.
Well, the handcuffs in front or behind you?
It's like 4:00 now, and you get one phone call, like I said, behind me.
Behind.
Yeah,
okay.
behind me.
I see Scotty had his in front.
Yeah, he was lucky. So I called my golf coach. He had never had one of these calls before in his entire life. Anyway, he said, "Look, I'll come and get you." But you know what he did? He came and got me, all right. He got me 12 hours later. So I made that phone call at 4, and he picked me up at 4 in the afternoon.
Wow.
And it was a big lesson. It was a big lesson. It was a good lesson. And anyway, it turned into a good dinner story anyway.
It's a ripper.
Well, let's talk about, before we get on to Xander, when I saw this story that Scottie Scheffler had been taken to jail. Now, apparently the story is someone died, huge traffic jam.
Yep.
One police officer, as Scottie Scheffler wound down the window, he was there pretty early to do his warm-up, do a gym session, do the whole lot, he was in his shorts. One police officer said, "Oh, yes, Mr. Scheffler, you can go around the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I know who you are. You've got your player badge. On you go." So he went around the outside of this enormous traffic jam. Down there a little bit, closer to the front gate, another police officer told him to stop. Mm-hmm. But this time, Scotty just held up his player card instead of winding down the window.
Thinking they know players can keep going.
Maybe radioed ahead. He just, he was so close to the front gate it didn't matter.
Done it a million times myself over there.
Done it a million times. Anyway, this police officer jumped on the back of the car. and Scott kept going. Now, that's a surprising thing because Scottie Scheffler, he's the kind of bloke who turns the water off when he's brushing his teeth, right? He doesn't do anything wrong, this bloke. He does nothing wrong.
You don't do that?
No, I don't.
Really?
No, I'm always spitting down the sink, and it just goes down the sink nicely.
Okay.
All right?
Just learned something about you, Mark?
Well, it's just, it's not that big a deal.
Okay.
You eat grapes at the supermarket, Dan, without paying for them.
Hey.
That's worse than anything I've ever done.
It is better than driving down the street with a cop hanging off the back of the car, I'll say that.
That's true.
Anyway, the cop fell off the car, ruined his pants apparently,
all hell broke loose.
And all hell broke loose. Yeah, all hell broke loose.
Wow. Well,
stretches in the cell?
Yes.
Before he warmed up?
Yeah.
But then, Nick, to go out and shoot 66, his lowest ever second round in a major, the more I think about that story, the more I can't believe it. If he actually won the tournament, if he didn't have a collapse in round 3, if he wins the tournament, that's a movie.
Yeah.
He gets a movie.
You're probably right, actually. I'm not sure who would play Scotty.
Ben Affleck with a beard.
Yeah,
absolutely perfect.
Yeah, very true. Well, it's funny. I was having dinner, my wife and I, with a couple of good friends, the Woodbridges, and obviously Todd, fine tennis player, won many more Grand Slams than a lot of people in tennis. And we were sitting there, and I think Tash said to me, "You ever been to jail?" And I told that story, and she goes, "I did not know that." And then Todd said, "Well, I have." And
Todd Woodbridge has been to jail.
He has been to jail. It was one of those Scottie Scheffler scenarios.
So
at the Olympics back in the 90s, and I think what we'll do, we'll get him on for a bonus podcast, and he can tell that story along with a lot of other stuff. Now, add him to the list, by the way.
He's a mad golf nut, isn't he?
He loves his golf. He's a member just across the road at Royal Melbourne. But we were watching this unfold, and we were both sitting there going, I've never seen anything like this, number one.
Yep.
Number two is he's not going to make his tee time.
Yeah, that's right.
And he will not have a chance to win the Grand Slam because he's in a jail cell for possibly not really doing much wrong. But you know what wasn't a surprise was that he went out and played well, because it was almost like, oh, I'm free type thing. You know, like went out and the next day, the third day, someone called it, I don't know who it was, and they said this will be the day that'll test him, because all the adrenaline would have rushed out of his body and he probably would have felt flat as a pancake.
That person was smart.
Yeah, and sure enough, he shot the worst round he's shot in probably 6 months.
Well, the first over par round he shot for the whole season. This season, I think it was 41 rounds.
41 in a row.
Par or better,
Yeah.
and this was the only one over par.
Oof. Do you think there'll be an asterisk next? If he wins the next two majors, 3 out of the 4, there could be an asterisk for a Grand Slam.
Yeah. Well, he's been robbed, hasn't he?
Oh.
If he does go ahead and win the US Open at Pinehurst, which is a golf course that's going to suit him, it's just going to suit him so well. Pinehurst.
Yeah.
And then the Open. Where's the Open been played this year?
Is it Troon, I think?
Yeah, it might be.
I think it's Troon. I know there's one man who was thankfully went to jail, and that was Xander Schauffele.
Oh, wow. So is that 2 weeks in a row? He's been basically at the top of the leaderboard?
Yes,
2
going with the
weeks in a
final
row.
one. He kind of led from start to finish. Well, not finish at Charlotte at the Quail Hollow, but same again this week. Shoot 62 the first round and had the tournament in his grasp the whole way. And there was obviously question marks, I think, playing this final round. Can he close it out? He's had 6 top 5s in majors. He hasn't been able to finish it. And he was playing with Colin Morikawa, two-time major champion. You had all these other guys chasing, Bryson, Victor, and so on. And it was a fascinating day. And I think the turning point for him, and for me when I was watching it, was he made that bogey on 10, the par 5. The easiest hole on the golf course. He's in the fairway bunker and he takes a fairway wood of some sort. Might have been a hybrid, I'm not sure. Big decision to hit that out of the fairway. I was watching it going, just lay it up. Lay it up, hit a wedge on. I mean, if he hits the perfect shot, it's the greatest decision ever. But it's kind of a 3 or a 4 out of 10 sort of shot, that you're going to actually pull it off. Yeah. Put it in the fairway, wedge it on. However, I think it lit a fire in him at the same time, that bogey. Then he birdies 11 and 12, and he sort of held the lead, or had some of the lead going for the rest of the back 9.
Just looking at his stats for the week, shots gained total, number 1 for the week. Approach to the green, he was number 2. Shots gained off the tee, he was number 3. So we saw the little change that he had made recently, and they're just trying to get that club a little bit. I heard him talking afterwards, and he said that because the club now is coming down on a much better plane, his ability to move the ball left to right and right to left has got to a point where he is very confident. Even standing on a few of those tees where some of those tee shots are uncomfortable, where he has to drive it to, he felt like the swing changes. Is it Chris Como? Yep. The swing changes have helped enormously. And I remember talking to you about this last week, just seeing him in the heat of battle with Rory last week, hitting fades off the tee early instead of always drawing the ball. He does look like a very, very different player. I had no idea too. Last week you said that he's one of the longest hitters out there. You know what? I've been watching him for a long time. I didn't realise that he was one of the longest out there.
What do you think his ball speed is?
Well, it's got to be up around the 180s, isn't it? Mid-180s?
185, 184 regularly.
Yeah, so I didn't pick that. I don't always watch. I knew he was definitely better than just being one of the boys out there, but I had no idea of the power and the regard of how powerful he was. His dad was a decathlon kind of character, so he's a very, very strong boy. Obviously, he's got those genes. But again, I just loved the putting, and I loved his chipping. That the up and down from 17 where he missed that green out to the right. So he was the 9-9. He had to get it up over the lip. So he's kind of left the club face open just to make sure it goes out to the right. His chip from that dip in those circumstances, I thought was just beautiful. I want to talk about his second shot on the 72nd in a second as well. But the chip on 18 as well, on the 72nd hole, just a low one up the hill. You You've been leading this tournament pretty much from the start. You got rolled the week before.
Yeah.
You've got every right to be tired, fatigued, worn down by pressure, and yet he was strong enough to keep on pushing and do all the things right, and then, to make that putt. It looked like the putt got a little bounce. More, I watched it about 3 times now.
He hit it exactly where he wanted.
Yeah, I agree. It was a straight putt. He said afterwards too. It was a straight putt, and he actually said that it moved left early that he wasn't expecting, and then it straightened out and dived into the hole. Big left lip.
Went in with speed though. I will say that.
Yeah.
I think Bryson had a putt earlier from the same sort of line, a little further away, and he's just crept in.
Bryson said he thought it was short.
Yeah.
He said
you
afterwards.
could tell.
He said I thought it. I didn't think it was going to get there.
Right. Okay.
I was screaming at the TV with the second shot. He hits the drive. He didn't quite hit the fairway, but if you haven't seen it, folks, I mean, you must have seen it by now. If you love this, if you love golf, that second shot, I was screaming at the TV. Sam Torrance was going, geez, he's hitting it. He's aiming out to the right, and it did look like he was aiming out to the right. But because the toe is so high in the air, you and I both know that kicks the ball to the left.
No, he was playing for that. I was sitting there thinking, going, take the fairway wood. Because number one, you're not going to be having a full slash at it because you don't want to, the lower half you want to keep as stable as possible. He took the long iron and he took a full lash at it. I thought, wow, that was so impressive not to slip and not to hit the hosel rocket, to be honest.
That's exactly right. You and I both know that. And he actually said that afterwards as well.
Well, the other thing with the fairway wood is if you do catch it a bit out the heel, there's no hosel there. You're not going to shank it. It'll just come out a little squirrely. But I thought his play was fairway wood if he was going to go for it.
Yeah.
Into that front bunker and then up and down from the bunker because it's not too difficult with that back pin.
Okay, so his caddy, they spoke through it after the.
Okay, I never saw this.
Yeah, afterwards they had why they didn't play this in the first place, I'll never know, but they had the audio of them both talking to each other well and truly after the round had finished, and the caddy and the player were both saying, now let's hit a club that gets over the water if it goes right. So they had to take enough club for that to happen. They thought that would be in a good spot. They thought the front bunker was a good spot to be in because there was plenty of room. Which makes sense.
Long was dead.
That's right. If it went left, they knew that was a good spot. The low skipper kind of moving up, which is the one he had. The only place that they thought that they couldn't go was left rough.
Yeah.
They thought left rough was no good. But after the round...
Left rough wasn't that bad, I didn't think.
Xander also said the hosel was the other one. So that was in his head.
Well, if I'm thinking hosel, I'm not taking iron. I know that.
That's right.
Plus, as I said, with the fairway wood, you don't have to swing as hard. You can just make a nice, smooth swing. But to his credit, he did it and he got up and down. And imagine for him, everything he's gone through to be 35, 40 yards away thinking, if I get this up and down, I'm going to win my first major championship. To do it under the gun like he did was so, so impressive.
So just round off Xander's performance, driving accuracy tied 16th, driving distance he's 15th in the field, longest drive he's 330 yards, who cares. Greens in regulation he was number 1. Sand saves for the week he was number 1 at 100%. Scrambling, number 3.
Oof.
So he was number 1 for shots gained total and number 3 for scrambling, number 6 for putts. So that's really, really good. Let's talk about Bryson.
Well, I thought the battle between him and Victor was fascinating.
Oh, how good was it? It was great to watch.
Those two were just, going off, basically. There was back and forth. And Victor seemed to have him most of the way. Until obviously what happened on 18. But Bryson, didn't he get lucky on 16?
16. Oh. He got lucky, but then he cashed in on the luck, which I think shows you. That's the mind of a champion. You would have been the same. You get that lucky thing, and some people would just go, oh, thank goodness I got a little bit lucky there. Champions cash in on the luck. Yeah. And that shot, I think it was a 7-iron.
8-iron from 220 yards.
8-iron from 200 metres, basically.
I mean, it's not an 8-iron. We know it's probably more like a 6-iron.
6-iron.
Yeah. But still, that's a 200-metre 6-iron.
And hit that to 3 feet.
Yeah.
Was just stunning. And he knew it too. It was one of those swings where he was, it wasn't quite like when he, at the Arnold Palmer, when he hit it over the water, it was a 400-yard carry or whatever that carry was. How he had both arms going like this, go like that. It wasn't quite that look.
Yeah.
But he knew he had nutted it.
Yep.
That 8-iron was completely nutted and stopped dead. He played fantastic golf. No bogeys between him and Victor until the very last hole.
I think Victor, he'll just be kicking himself. He had that great, a good couple of birdie looks on 15, on 17 especially. And then Bryson's obviously knocked the birdie putt in. Yeah. He needs to make it to have any chance, and wasn't his best effort. And the next one didn't really matter, the bogey, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Well, see, Bryson, he needed the chase, and he shot 32 on the back nine
11 putts.
of a major. 11 putts on the back nine.
He two-putted the 10th for birdie, and I think he had 7 one-putts. He two-putted for par on another hole somewhere, but the rest of the time he was getting it up and down from everywhere on that back nine.
Well, just on that, let's have a look at his stats. So round 4, just on the putting.
Mm-hmm.
See, round 4, he was number 21. So that gives you an idea. He's had 11 putts on the back nine, folks. And for shots gained putting, he was number 21. I'll go all the way down. This, by the way, the PGA Tour stats, if you play with it, folks, you get every single stat. You just can't imagine the amount of stats we've got for.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. I'll see if I can find how many putts he had for the week.
It's like champion data on steroids.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
There's so many stats, it's hard to comprehend.
I stand corrected. I think he had 12 putts, on the back
12
nine.
putts. It's ridiculous under pressure and hitting the ball that far and everything else. But, 32 on the back nine in the heat of battle. Probably, the chip on the shoulder is eating away at him, and he wants to show the world that, just because he's playing 14 3-round tournaments, that he can still contend and win. I thought there was so much going on in the background. You'd love to be, we talk about being a fly on the wall. How about just being, just being in his head and being able to just to think in between shots, just to get that somehow what he is thinking.
Yeah.
I would love that.
He's an interesting guy, Ian. I've never really been a fan of his, but he's warming up to me. He's doing some stuff where you go, okay, that was pretty cool. He did some things with the galleries, like throwing a ball to someone and some guy caught it in front of a kid and he says, no, give it to the kid. And just little things. I think the other day on 18, he was in the fairway bunker when players were trying to finish when it was getting dark, and he called the group up behind and allowed them to hit the tee shot so the group behind could finish. So He's doing some right things there, but he's just I think he's great for the game. Yeah. I will say that. He's so unique, and he has changed the game in a sense when he bulked up so much.
Yeah.
And was making everyone think about distance, made Rory think about distance, that's for sure. And there's another story this week with Rory. That was a prime opportunity for him to do something really special, and he just came out flat on Friday, and that was it for him.
His putter just disappeared. He was hitting some really good shots, and he had all this opportunity to just hole a few 8 and 10 footers, and he just couldn't do it. Yeah. And they were bad putts. There's something that I'll save it for the masterclass. There's something that Rory, I think, should be doing that Xander does really, really well.
With putting?
Yeah, with putting.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'd love Rory just to try it. I'd love him to try it because some of the best players in the world do this, and Rory doesn't do it.
All right. Okay.
So I'll say that for the masterclass a little bit later.
Well, you're in Nick's hitting zone here. Nick's had you've had a bit of a concern about some of Rory's putting techniques for some time.
Well, the way his head moves has always been something I've looked at, and then the full swing, the number of looks, and all that. We know all about that stuff. Plus, the other thing is, what did he file for divorce on the Monday as well?
Yeah.
After he won Quail Hollow, and then all of a sudden he's come out and said, my wife and I are splitting. So obviously there's some turmoil going on there behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's a few rumours flying around too. That
really,
yeah.
We might hear about that one. We might hear about that one in feedback.
That's right. Victor, is he back? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was flushing.
Oh.
He was on fire, and it was great. And he wasn't even going to enter the tournament at one point. He said before, in one of the interviews, he said, I thought about not even playing this week. Isn't that amazing? Another guy who who was thinking about not playing but ended up entering and won a major was Michael Campbell at the US Open in 2005. His manager talked him into going to qualify to get into the tournament, and he ended up winning the US Open.
That's right.
So
that's an amazing story.
You never know when you're going to catch lightning in a bottle.
I know Cambo pretty well. I know you do as well. Put him on the list, Dan. There's another one for the bonus.
Cambo.
Michael Campbell.
Yeah. Morikawa, it was a tough day for him. He was going for the Nick Faldo 18 pars at one point, final round.
Yeah. When do you go on the I'm stuffed because I've made too many pars in a row list. I reckon it was 6 holes and I could feel it.
Yeah.
After his 6th hole...
Well, when he didn't birdie 7 the par 5, he kind of thought, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And then when he didn't birdie 10 the par 5, he kind of knew he was done. Yeah.
He was done.
Yeah.
He was done.
Yeah.
Last one. Tiger Woods.
Oh.
Apparently he drove it pretty well. I don't know about that.
It was hard to watch.
It was a hard watch. He looked so stiff. His swing looks stiff. It's funny, his walking looks better. Where is he? He finished, like almost last. Let me just have a quick look at the stats to see if they tell a story.
If he could, Mark, I mean, he never will. If he could play in a golf cart like John Daly, I think that would make the world of difference.
Yeah, well, that's his only chance. We've spoken about this before.
I know.
He'll get to the Champions Tour. He will warm up in a cart before majors and then come out with a sharp game and try and win majors. Yep. I think it's the only chance he's got.
Yeah, but I think the body just breaks down over time.
Yeah.
The 72 holes is so hard for him to walk.
So he averaged 298 yards off the tee. Driving accuracy, not bad for Tiger, 75%. Hit 21 out of 28 fairways.
That's very good.
That's really, really good. Shots gained off the tee, he was in the positive, 0.636. Approached the green. Now, this is where he has been just let down because I'll rephrase that. He is the best iron player the world of golf has ever seen. And he was minus 1.7 on the shots gained. Now, that's un-Tiger-like.
That is.
It's like his game has reversed to where his driving's half decent and his iron play is a disgrace. And sand saves, 3 of 5, scrambling, 9 of 14, so, way down. Putts per green in regulation, 1.91, that's no good. Feet of putts made over 2 days, 82 feet.
82, wow.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Over 2 days, so it's 41 feet a day. So, folks, that is the putt that he holes. That they just add up. All they do with the putts made, feet of putts made, they just add up all the putts that went in. So, if you're holding a lot of 2-footers as your second putt, that's all it is. It kind of gives you it's the snake gauge.
Yeah, it is.
That's all that is. If you're up in the hundreds, you've done really well for the day.
I know Larry had like 160 feet of putts holed on the Saturday, I think, in his 62, and that was his best ever. So he was holding them from everywhere. I'll give you one last stat.
Yep, go on.
And this is a Scottie Scheffler one.
Oh.
Okay. So he had the caddy, on the Saturday. Yeah. So we knew that was always going to be a tough day for him because his normal caddy, Ted Scott, had a graduation to go to. He'd been to jail the day before. However,
it's a tough day.
I couldn't believe this when I read it. Scottie Scheffler has never won a golf tournament outside the months of February to April.
Yeah.
All his tournament wins come in February, March, April. So apparently he's not going to win again for the rest of the year. Now, I find that really, really hard to believe. So time will tell anyway.
I'm with you. I think he's... If he's not, I think he's the favourite for the US Open right now. I believe that charges are going to be dropped, so he doesn't have that headache anymore. So without that headache, with a little time off for good behaviour, he should be right. Yeah. Right? He should be right.
Well,
it was a shame to see Lucas Herbert fall away in the final round too.
Yeah, 74.
He'd done pretty well up until then.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was a big round of golf for him as well because there are exemptions into the other majors. If he'd have played well, he could have gone into the Masters next year, the US Opens, things like that. So that's a tough one for him.
Do you think, you talk about pressure a lot, fair bit, do you think he was feeling that pressure in that final round?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, he actually spoke about those exemptions. He was knowing he needed to play well, because there was a lot on the line, not just the tournament. He probably felt he was a little too far back. He probably thought if he shoots 61, he probably still wasn't going to win. But if he puts a good solid round together, a 67, 68, all of a sudden that opens a lot of doors for him. So maybe it was just a little self-imposed. I don't know.
Just quickly too, my new favourite name in golf is involved in this story. But 13, how they moved the tee way forward. That's the island green.
I saw this.
Only 2 players went for it.
Oh, there was 2.
2 players.
I thought there was 1.
2 players went for it. One was Jordan Spieth.
Mm-hmm.
Hit it in the water.
Well, that's not surprising, actually.
One bloke hit it and made the putt. And his name is Toasty.
Toasty, actually.
Toasty. I called him Toasty.
Toasty, I love it.
I called him Toasty.
When someone said a guy went for the green on 13, I thought, what? Oh, they must have moved the tees forward.
There he
Had
is.
they moved it forward?
Yeah, they moved it forward.
Oh,
So he
that's
made his 2. He
two.
knocked it on and made the 2.
Well, he's probably well back, obviously, and
Well, he was
wow,
even
what the
par.
heck?
He was even par through 12, but had a crack, knocked it on, and made the
good
putt.
luck to
That's
him.
huge. He birdied 17 and 18 as well. Where did he finish, Toasty? Alexandro Toasty finished tied 73rd.
There you go.
It's a great name.
Back
It
end.
is. It's a great name. Yeah, great
Yep.
name. Have you got your top 5 sorted?
I do. Yes.
What is it?
Oh, you want to know? You want to? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, you can keep me guessing.
It's the. I thought about an obvious one. Top 5 players never to have
No.
won a major. We don't want that. It's going to
No
be my
obvious.
top 5 current golfers looking for their second major
Oh,
now. Okay. So they've all won one, and they're looking for the second.
I know.
All right.
Well, I'm going to change things up today. In honour of Alexandro, I'm going to have myself a little
Toasty.
cheese toasty.
Well, you know what? In honour of Scottie Scheffler, who got a sandwich in jail, I'm going to go for a sandwich instead of a wrap.
I'll see you on the 10th tee.
All right.
Ox and Marco, a couple of great mates with a fun podcast. And occasionally, well, let's just say, it can get a little sexy.
No, it wasn't my first pash.
Okay.
It was my first
Early.
emotional pash. Or the first one with feelings. In the back of a laser.
Right.
Little Ford laser gear it was too. So it had the velour seats.
First pash, I was 11 years old.
Oh, here we go. 11.
11?
11 years old.
I didn't even know I had anything at 11.
I was on a cricket pitch
Oh,
in Box Hill.
don't tell me you bowled her over.
No.
Ox and Marco's Couple of Blokes podcast. Lots of fun, plenty of banter, and even the odd bit of romance. There's a new episode every Wednesday. Just search Couple of Blokes wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening to Talk Birdie to me, and if you're up for it, we'd love you to subscribe, rate and share the podcast wherever you listen. And thanks to our great partners who make the show possible, Ping, they'll help you play your best, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world, and the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Now, back to Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
All right, we're starting.
Yes.
Just before we get to the top 5, Sam Torrance, I would like to just give him a little golf clap.
Yep.
I loved his commentary. I absolutely loved it.
How good's the voice?
The voice is superb. Made a few mistakes, as you picked up, and so did his
Well, it's-
teammate. Who was his teammate?
I'm not sure who the other guy was. They're just a couple of, this is for birdie and it was for par and things like that.
Yeah,
But
a few things like that. That happens.
That happens.
That happens.
Mm.
But Sam, because he has so much credibility, a bit like you, Nick, when you commentate, because of the credibility, he didn't have to gush over every shot. He just was fabulous. And if that was the international feed, please continue. I loved it. And I'd love other people's feedback on our socials. What did you give Sam Torrance out of 10 for his commentary and his commentary style? I gave it a 10.
All right. Here's another question for you. What did you give the golf course out of 10?
I never want to see a major played at that golf course ever again.
Yeah.
So have they've had Kenny Perry won one there, Tiger Woods has won.
Mark Brooks.
Mark Brooks. No, Mark Brooks won.
He beat Kenny Perry in a playoff.
Oh, is that right?
When Perry was up in the commentary booth and they said, you might want to go warm up, and he never did. And
Is
he
that right?
snap hooked one on the first playoff hole and lost.
All right, I was watching. I thought they said Kenny Perry won there in 1996. Tiger's won one there. Rory's won one there.
Yeah.
And now Xander has won one there.
I will say this.
I never want to see another one there.
It provides great finishes, but yeah, it's like Bay Hill and Torrey Pines provide great finishes as well. So anyway, it's a bomber's course.
But it's a bomber's course with enormous greens, and I was surprised. Who's the guy with the moustache? And he had the shanks earlier in the
Johnson Wagner.
Did you see him shacking? He had to go there and try and hit some shots. He had the full-on heebie-jeebies. He was hopeless.
It was horrific.
It was horrific.
I wasn't sure if it was intentional in the beginning, but he actually said, "No, I've got the chipping yips."
No, he gave up in the end.
And he did, yeah.
He gave up. He was embarrassed.
That one over the back of the green when he was trying to hit the flop shot.
Oh, Nick, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Anyway, after he hit that shot, they asked him, what do you think will be the winning score? He said, I can't believe I'm saying this, guys, but 20 under par is going to win this the week. So,
Well, he was wrong. It was 21.
21, but But with, big wide fairways, big greens, these guys, it doesn't matter. They need more,
Mm.
and we need more in a major as well. But even so,
Yeah.
it was great. It was great golf to watch, but I'd never want to see a major played there ever again. Time for this week's top 5.
Top five.
All right, I thought about going for the top 5 of players that haven't won a major, because
Boredom.
Xander. But now that Xander's won one, I'm thinking, well, who are the best players around that have only got one major, looking for 2? So I had a bit of a think, and okay, I'm going to give an honorary couple of mentions here
As usual.
for a couple of Aussies.
Top 7, okay, we get it.
No, just an honorable mention for Adam Scott and Cam Smith.
Dan,
Okay,
Dan,
I
is
got
it
to
a top
put them on
5
there.
or is it a top 7?
No, it's
Well, it depends who's doing it.
in 5th position.
Come on.
Love watching this guy play. Favourite Irishman to watch. Shane Lowry. He's won the 2019 Open Championship and he's looking for his second. I thought after the 62, he might have actually gone deep again in round 4, but couldn't light it up. Almost had that record.
Yeah, 61. I thought he was
61.
going to knock it in.
Mm.
He actually, I don't think he hit his best putt, but I saw someone else have the same putt and it ended up being the same result.
Same
so
result?
it might have been
Okay.
a hard putt to read.
Maybe. Okay, number 5, Shane Lowry. Number 4, we're going to go Masters champion, Hideki Matsuyama, won in 2021. And if this guy doesn't win another major soon, something is wrong, because he's a flusher. I think his best chance probably is another Masters or something like that. He's probably not going to win the Open or the US Open. Maybe a PGA championship.
Maybe a PGA,
actually.
yeah.
He'd be a good one.
Yeah.
My number 3 won the US Open at Winged Foot a few years ago, 2020, and almost won the PGA championship this past week.
I'm trying to go back.
Oh, come on, he almost won. He came second. Bryson
Bryson.
DeChambeau,
Thank you.
looking for his second major at the moment. Number 2, our own Australian, Hannah Green,
Hey.
who unfortunately went down to Nelly Corder over the weekend in what a phenomenal fight that was between the two of them.
I heard her speak afterwards,
Mhm.
and I've got it ready to play. Dan, have you got it ready to play? Let's have a listen to
Okay.
Hannah Green as our number 2.
Perfect.
kind of it's sad, but then it's also Nelly Corder. She's obviously so dominant right now. To feel like second behind her is quite nice. And unfortunately, the bogey on the last does have a little bit of a sour taste, but I still competed out there when I didn't really think I was in it at all. It was enjoyable playing with Nelly and matching her and making birdies. Hopefully I can take this form for the next stretch of events and get one of those trophies. Nelly is always enjoyable, and we always have good conversations while we're on the course. We're both pretty relaxed out there, and I don't think we like to be in our own heads too much and somewhat talk. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have Nelly paving the way and all of us trying to chase her.
She's a good girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her. I like her game.
No.
I like her tenacity. And I like the way she handled that questions as well. There was a lot of questions about Nelly. She didn't get upset about it. She just
No.
answered them,
She's
which is great.
good Perth girl and from Mount Lawley Golf Club. So,
Yeah, come on.
Never miss a chance from
Never
like
miss a
Matt
chance.
Hawley.
No,
That's
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and number 1, and by the way, they got the US Women's Open coming up in 2 weeks, so
Yes.
she's definitely one of the favourites. Unfortunately, it'll be Nelly as the favourite, obviously, but look out for Hannah there. And number 1, the man who just won the PGA Championship. It wouldn't surprise me if he just backs it up straight away with a US Open when he might go down the wire with Scottie Scheffler, but it's Xander Schauffele. Schauffele, not Schauffele.
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 Like souffle.
There you go.
I've been practicing. I have to now, as a major winner, I have to give him much more respect.
I did watch some of the news bulletins last night,
Yeah.
and every single sports reader, pronounced his name differently.
It's a tough one.
Hey, I know that I have one source, which is Scottie Scheffler's brother-in-law.
I thought you had 3.
I now have a live golf source.
Oh, yes.
A live golf source.
Okay.
I can't tell you who. But he's in it up to his eyeballs.
Okay.
He told me that the Strategic Sports Group had to ask some of the players at the pointiest end of the committees to stop talking about the 1.5 billion injection of cash and the 1.5 billion that's sitting there ready to go when they need it from the Strategic Sports Group.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Strategic Sports Group promised that money only if the tour got in bed with the PIF.
Really?
Yes.
So is this
It's conditional.
Is this a case of if they match the 1.5 or?
No. They just have to.
Right.
They just have
join.
they just have to join.
So it's not them saying, well, we'll put in 1.5 if they put in 1.5.
No.
Right.
Well, you'll get this $3 billion, but you have to deal with these guys.
Wow.
Now, that's what my source told me.
When you say players at the pointy end.
Tiger.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Oh.
That's what I was
Tiger, stop talking. That money is conditional, Tiger. Stop it.
Interesting.
That sort of talk came his way.
I think Spieth came out earlier saying, well, we've got the 1.5 now. We can sort of do what we want.
Jordan, stop it. You haven't got that money yet.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So, anyway,
Yeah, it's interesting.
apparently Yasser was sitting back watching it all take place and wasn't too happy.
Wow. Well, Jimmy Dunn just resigned as well off the policy board.
Now, you know the significance of this more than anybody,
Well,
really, because he was one of the smartest characters,
He
one of
was.
the best business minds that they had in the back room of the PGA Tour.
Well, he was part of the framework agreement, I believe, with Ed Hurley and Monahan and those guys as well. So for him to resign, again, just reading what he said the players now outnumber the independent directors. And that's not a good thing because you want people that know business to be running the board. You want players there with their say, but you do not want players to outnumber the smart businessmen.
No.
Because golfers are good at golf. They're not good at making business decisions.
Yeah.
Some of them are. But
yeah, and they're good at doing the little things like deciding who gets into what tournament, deciding exemptions lists, deciding how best to get the live players back onto the PGA Tour without upsetting the apple cart of all the PGA Tour players. They would have that wonderful insight.
That's why they're independent.
That's right.
Well, he's the second guy to resign because who was the other one? Randall Stevenson.
Yes.
I think from AT&T a while back where he pulled out saying, no, this is all getting too hard, I'm out. So Jimmy's done the same thing. I'm not sure what's happening there.
Anyway, so the Strategic Sports Group, not so happy with the some of the youngsters, some of the more senior players of the PGA Tour because they weren't listening. Their ears were painted on.
Okay.
Play the music.
Love it.
I didn't think I could get any more fired up.
Do you know, I wasn't here last week, but I listened to that music that you found from Melbourne Victory.
Yes. How good was she on the violin?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, you found it, Nick.
I did.
Yeah. And she was incredible.
Unbelievable.
I watched that video about 2 or 3 times going, oh, my gosh, that's amazing.
And the crowd going, they were pumped. It
So
was,
good.
It was
Can we
awesome.
use that music in one of our other clips, or have we overdone
We probably
it?
no. I don't think we should.
I think we're okay.
We don't
but it was great.
No, exactly. All right, this week's Ping Global results. Obviously, the PGA Championship where Xander got his first major victory. Scottie Scheffler went to jail. Somehow it still had it tied for 8th. Bryson, what a character he is, almost picks up his second major as well. It was a fantastic week. I loved it.
It was a great
So
watch.
much drama.
It was a great watch.
On the Aussie front, best of them was Minwoo Lee, shot a final round 67 to finish tied for 26. Lucas Herbert, unfortunately, shot a few over the final round, 74. Tied for 43rd, along with Jason Day, and Cam Smith just never really got it going all week, tied for 63rd. But it was, as always, I love the majors. It's my favourite weeks of the year. On the LPGA Tour, Nelly Korda, creating history yet again. 6 wins out of her last 7 starts. She becomes the first player since Lorena Ochoa, who did it back in 2008,
Holy moly.
to pick up 6 wins before the June 1st.
You forget how good and how dominant Lorena
was unbelievable. Only the 4th player in history to do that. The other 2 were Louise Suggs and Babe Zaharis back in the 50s.
Wow. A million years ago.
Oh, it's incredible what she is doing. And she did it the hard way too. 2 over on the front 9, 3 under on the back, going up against our own Hannah Green. It was back and forth on that back 9. And it was played at the Liberty National Golf Club. I don't know if you've seen it or ever been there.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's not
I've never been there.
Yeah, I played it.
It looks good.
It looks good, yeah.
It's no good.
I found it really hard. I'll say that. I played a FedEx Cup event there, and it's great views. I think Tom Kite designed it.
Yeah.
It was just so long for me because
Is that the one with the clubhouse kind of looks like an old lighthouse? Is that the one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not from my memories anyway. Are you thinking of Harbour Town?
You
No?
keep going, and
Anyway.
I'll get the course.
Yeah, but it was a great back nine duel, basically, between two of the best players in the world at the moment. And for Nelly, just to rack up another one, she looks unstoppable. And I love her game. She plays at a pace which is fantastic. The swing is unbelievable, and she's just firing on all cylinders. But to her own admission, she actually didn't play that well on the final round, and she still won the golf tournament. So congrats to her. Obviously, Hannah Green, tough loss, but she'll take so much out of that. Shot a final round 72 under par to finish runner-up. Another great week for Gabby Ruffles, tied for third, picking up another big check for her. So she's really doing some great things. Of the other Aussies, Minjee Lee was the next best, tied for 21st. On the ladies' European tour...
I was just showing Dan, sorry.
Oh, okay.
You continue.
Can I continue?
I think it's called Bayonne,
Oh, okay.
and that's the one near New York.
Right,
And it's
okay.
got the Statue of Liberty in the
Yeah.
background. It looks amazing.
Oh, the condition of it's perfect. I think
But I don't think it's the one you're talking about. It's that one. Have you seen that one?
Liberty
before?
National was
That's
the
not,
one...
That's not Liberty National.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
It's spelt Bayonne. Bayonne.
That looks stunning. Liberty National, I think, was built on a garbage tip. So,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, they brought a lot of fill in, obviously, to make some golf holes.
Right. So it's built on a garbage tip, and
There you go.
you don't think it's got much better?
No.
Oh, jeez.
No,
It is a good golf
You
course.
just
I
didn't
will
play
say
ball.
that. I just didn't.
You just
We
didn't
all
play
have
ball.
our favourites, don't we? All right. On the ladies' European tour, they had the Monday German Masters, where Kirsten Rudgley, good result for her, tied for fourth, shot a 7 under final round 65. But the hometown hero, Germany's Alexandra Fosterling, defeated Austrian Emma Spitz in a playoff for her fourth win in her last 11 starts.
Holy God.
Normally you'd go, that's impressive, but, Nellie's won 6 out of 7, so it's not too bad.
Not that big a
So-
deal.
on the Epsom Tour over there in Utah, New Zealand's Fiona Zhu, 7-shot win. Thank you very much. Went 63-64 on the final 2 rounds. For
Did
a
we see her
7-shot
over our
victory.
summer?
I think we saw a little bit of her
Yeah,
here.
we saw a tiny bit of her. She looked good.
Very impressive, yeah. Our own Ping's Cassie Porter tied for 30th. All right, on the Japanese tour, we had the New Zealand Open winner, Takahiro Hataji, have a 3-shot win in the Kansai Open Golf Championship. Takahiro Hataji, that's a hard one to get out, I tell you.
That's a good one.
Anyway, he had a 3-shot win. Brilliant result for him. And New Zealand, Michael Hendry, after his win the other week, tied for 14th. So still playing very, very nicely. Don't know if you saw this one on the Corn Ferry Tour. Did you see the end of this golf tournament?
No.
Incredible. The Advent Health Championship in Kansas City, Missouri.
I saw the picture afterwards, so he hugging his new wife or something.
Harry Higgs
Yeah.
holed a wedge from 83 yards
Go away.
for eagle to
Get
get
out.
to get into a playoff
Unreal.
with Tanner Gore.
And then won the playoff.
And then one on the first playoff hole.
And then he's off to get engaged or something with the new girl.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I
but
saw it, yeah.
how good. So Harry, he's a character on was on the PGA Tour. Now he's on the Corn Ferry Tour. So great to see him playing well. But to hole a wedge shot on the final hole, just incredible.
Ridiculous.
Another dominant winner was in Bogota on the PGA Tour of Americas. Used to be the Latino Tour is what they called it, but now the PGA Tour of Americas. New Zealand's Harry Hillier had an 8-shot win. Shot a 59 in the second round.
Ho hum these days, aren't they?
And you know what that
59s?
59 was? A 13 birdie 59.
Oh, a real one.
A real one. Past 72, 59.
Oh, well done, dude.
Incredible win. So that'll really help him because I think he would, if he does well on that tour that advances you to the Corn Ferry Tour and so on, you work your way up the ranks.
Get to the finals, can't you?
Yeah. And then over back in England, they had the G4D Open, the All Abilities tournament over there. Kip Poppett won by 1 stroke from Brendan Lawler. So it's kind of like one of their majors, the G4D Open. And our own, the Australians, Lachlan Wood and Wayne Persky tied for 4th. Great result for them. And Cameron Pollard tied for 9th.
All right.
And that's your Ping Global results.
Do you know what? The Ping Global results is some exciting. There's a lot of exciting news in there, but that's not the biggest golf news in the last few days. Not the biggest.
What is,
What
Dan?
is? Go on.
Netflix have ordered Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh, yeah, it's
Oh.
big. Yep.
Really?
Huge.
Huge.
Time! Relax, just do what we talked about, huh? Don't even look at the green. Make contact with the ball. There's no goalie out there to block it. Remember, it's all in the hips. Hey, it's all in. Come on. Work with me now. It's all in the hips. Yeah, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips.
Get off of me!
Hey, just easing the tension, baby. Just easing the tension.
Well, ease it on someone else.
Yeah.
How old is Adam Sandler now?
I don't know, but it's a 20-year-old thing.
Will it be a Champions Tour?
I don't know what's going to happen, but there are all kinds of possibilities. I've already seen where Paige Spiranovac, is that how you say her name?
It's Paige Spiranac. Yeah.
Spiranac.
Okay.
I believe there's a part in the show for her.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. You know when Happy went to his happy place?
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
You know, the girl he was chasing came out
Okay.
wearing the teddy and
Right. Well, that makes sense.
yeah, it's okay. So
Okay.
that'll get ticket people sales going, I imagine.
Yep, big news. It's exciting.
Okay.
Boys, want some feedback?
Yeah,
Please.
Okay.
We missed it last week.
We had a lot of feedback on the bonus pod with Jim from Tara Edie.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which is good. It was,
Yeah.
it was a wonderful podcast. If you haven't heard it, go back and have a listen to it.
It was a
It's
great
He's
chat.
a really nice guy.
Yeah, he was lovely, wasn't he?
Yeah.
One of the best.
I'd like to have a beer with Jim.
At Tara Edie.
Yeah, well, actually, with Jim, you have a
One
tequila.
day.
Jim loves his tequila, so you
Does he?
just sit down and have a nice
I'm
little
not having
tequila.
a tequila
No?
with him.
Oh, I love it. It's great.
I can't imagine Jim eating the worm.
What, you're not having a tequila?
No.
Little on ice.
Oh,
It's
okay. All
beautiful.
right, let me put this to you. Okay, hang on. Hypothesise here. Jim says to you, I want you to come over and play Tara Edie on one condition, that you have some tequila and you eat the worm.
No. I'm not playing.
Well, I don't believe you.
Wow. Okay.
I don't believe you.
I don't want to be forced or bullied into doing anything.
Right, okay. Phil Smith wrote in, fantastic listen. Don't hear enough of the thinking behind the courses, how they're set up and how they evolve. Thank you for sharing. Harry O'Brien, great listen, guys. Makes me want to get back over there. Back being the key word from Harry.
Yeah, I know Harry's been there a bit.
They
On
do
the
it so
age.
well. And Sean Richards said, this place is so pure.
I love TRI, the philosophy too, where the members play one course and the public play the other course, and it swaps every day. So if you play every Saturday, you get to play both courses. I think it's just really clever and smart and I like it.
Yeah. And the other thing they do so well there is that massive putting green out in the front at Rick's.
Yeah.
Anyone can play it for free.
Free.
Okay?
For free.
For free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
I hope the
remember-
right people are listening.
Yes.
They get to play it for free.
You would see kids running all over putting greens like that if they could
They
do
were
it.
free.
Yeah.
Let's kind of just touch on the elephant in the room. Why don't Golf Australia do that here at Sandringham? Why don't they do it?
I'm not sure. I think we need to
Well,
have a
ask the
sit
question.
down. Yeah,
Yep.
we need to have a sit-down chat.
Because that's a great putting green. It looks fantastic. I never see anyone on it.
There's no one on it. Yeah, there's nobody on it, and there should be lots
Yep.
of mums and dads and grandmas and grandpas bringing their kids down
Yep.
and showing them about the great game of golf.
You get the kids there, you know they're going to be playing in 5-10 years.
That's right.
Yeah. Top 100 got a lot of feedback, as you might well imagine. Still people talking about it. Scott Campbell wrote in, Mark, calm down. Scott Campbell wrote in, it's great to see a new number one in town.
All right, that's okay, Scott.
Okay.
I wonder if he's played Royal Melbourne West.
Everyday Explorer wrote in and said, Mark, I don't think you've made your position clear enough. Let it go. And then a little smiley face emoji. So it was a fun one.
Okay, that's good.
Tell us what you really feel.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
A couple more detailed comments. James Nicholas wrote in, these rankings should be taken with a grain of salt. Golf courses are far too complex to break down into categories, and people all have a different variety of opinions on what a good course should be. There's lots of rankings in the list that are questionable. Are we really supposed to believe that Boogle Run is the 60th best course in Australia and better than courses like Rosebud North and Cottesloe?
I agree with that. Now, James, I know what do you say there? They're not important. These ratings are very, very important.
Oh, no, he didn't say not important. He said it should be taken with a grain of salt.
Well, no, see, I disagree. They are very important, really important, and I think they need to be.
They are for a lot of golf clubs, because if their club moves up 5 or 10 spots, all of a sudden people want to go play there, and they get the green fees and they stay at the accommodation nearby. It's very important for some of these clubs.
It's really important. And what you know what else it's important for? It's for aspiration. So if your club sneaks into the top 100, then they don't just settle there. We want to make this place more special. So it's very good for aspiration as well for golf clubs right around the country, and they need to be taken seriously.
David Trappett wrote in, guys, you should be slightly less sandbelt-centric and broaden your horizons. A very small percentage of Australian golfers can access these courses, the membership invitation only. Granted, the Tassie courses require a trip for most, but they're accessible without an invitation, and their green fees are quite reasonable when you compare to the sandbelt courses.
David, for what you're saying, there should be a top 50 public access golf course list in Australia.
Yeah, sounds good, actually.
Very simple.
Yep, that would solve it. Luke Gallant has said, do you guys realise a good portion of the world top 100 is not playable year-round, like courses actually close?
Pine Valley is closed for winter. I think it's only open about 6 months a year, Pine Valley. Cypress is open most of the year. Augusta is actually a winter course. The funny thing about Augusta and Pine Valley, so a lot of the members are members of both. So they get to play Pine Valley in summer and Augusta in winter.
Yeah.
So no one loses.
What was it said the other day about what they call, the locals call Augusta? They call it something.
For 51 weeks a year, they call that town Disgusta.
Yeah.
And for 1 week a year, they call it Augusta.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Chris Rodriguez, great chat, gents. I still don't agree with the process, the aesthetics and backdrop, etc. They should not be as important as they are. But I give credit to Steve for explaining it and suggesting ways it could improve in the future.
No, Steve was fantastic
He was
on
good.
the pod.
He was excellent.
Good on you, Steve.
Dom Verstrecken has written in. Dom has said, hey, Nick and Mark, I've just discovered the pod. I enjoyed and I'm binge listening to catch up. I think it's great you're talking about the Golf Digest rankings. I believe it is all a little overdone. Maybe they could do the top 20 only. Courses that can be properly accessed, play and judge, all the ones that do matter. From my experience, he's at Treasure Grand Golf Club.
Right.
From my experience, we don't particularly care about our ranking as long as we, the members, the committee and the staff, are satisfied, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm sure other clubs feel the same.
That's a fabulous way to be.
Yeah.
Fabulous way to be.
And he closes by saying, as you said, Mark, it's about everyday playability.
Yep.
Yep. So he's picked up on that.
Nice.
We were talking about northern New South Wales golf courses a couple of weeks ago,
Oh, yeah.
and some that could be suggested. Luke Drummond suggested Byron Bay. It's got a great clubhouse and the food is awesome, and Tevin Valley. Is it Tevin? Is that how you say it?
I think so. That sounds right.
Yep.
Possibly the best 9-holer in Australia.
Okay.
Wow.
I didn't even know Byron Bay had a golf course.
I've never been to Byron Bay. I want to get up there one day and we'll have to have a game.
I've never been to Byron Bay either.
Okay.
Really?
Sounds like a pod in the making.
Let's go for a holiday, Nick, you and me.
Yeah. Finally, a question for you guys from Andrew Pryor. Great pod last week, guys. Do you think it's time for the Australian Open to look outside of Melbourne and Sydney and approach other states?
I think it's too late to look outside of picking New South Wales.
This year?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. But I think in other years, absolutely.
Yeah.
Be great to take it to Royal Adelaide or somewhere like that, or Lake Carrinup over in Perth would be fantastic. You know, up in Queensland, what have you got up there? No, they've already got the PGA at Royal Queensland, but yeah, I think so.
Perth's the logical one. They're
Yeah,
looking for.
Perth and Adelaide.
Yep.
If they had more time, I think Perth and Adelaide would have.
But this year,
Well,
no.
The Australian Open, when it was in Adelaide, the Women's Australian Open, was a top-class event. It was so good. The players they got.
They loved going there, didn't they?
They loved going there. It was at the right time of the year.
It was February, March?
Yep.
Something like that. That works in well with their schedule.
The time that doesn't work in well with their schedule is
End of the year.
current date.
Yes.
And that is a shocker because they play all year long and they play their season finale and then they are expected to get on the plane and come to the furthest possible place.
They probably haven't played in a
Australian
month
Open.
or so either.
So the date is all wrong. I say that for the men's. I've been saying that about the men's Australian Open as well. The date is wrong.
Yeah.
It should be in March, and it's just better for us here in Australia because I've said it again. We're sick of cricket, we're sick of tennis, and March would be magnificent.
Just before footy?
Just before the footy, and also we get away from Thanksgiving because it's right in the middle of Thanksgiving. And Nick, explain to folks how important Thanksgiving is. It's almost more important than Christmas.
It is for a lot of people. Yep, Thanksgiving is everything.
Everything.
Well, that's the feedback. And if you want to give us some feedback, we'd love it. We love to hear it. We love to read it out, even if it's a whack. We always do that too. You can go to the website, talkbirdietommy.com.au. And you can even leave a voicemail too, which is always fun.
Yeah. How do they do that, Dan?
Where you go to the website, talkbirdietommy.com.au. Literally what I said like 10 seconds ago.
Right.
Okay.
I'll start listening. Golf has many ways of measuring ability and performance. But at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. And that's where Watch My Numbers can really help. It's time for this week's masterclass. And I absolutely loved when it came down to the crunch. Xander Schauffele putted the spots off his golf ball. It was beautiful, beautiful to watch. Now, One of the great things about the coverage all week was the close-in shots of some of the putts. And by the way, our team at PGA TV, they had some great shots of this as well, and we used to see it a lot. Anyway, what was clear is that Xander Schauffele is a bouncer. Not at nightclubs, Dan. He gets over the golf ball and he taps. Tiny little 1 millimetre taps.
You love the taps.
Right before he goes. Now, I loved the tap. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved it. When you're practicing, folks, and there is no pressure, there's literally no need to tap because there is no pressure and you're so free and you are so loose, and putting is easy on that practice putting green. It's easy. But you don't practice for when there's no pressure. You practice for when there is pressure. And if you freeze, if you are a statue, it is really, really hard to take that putter away in motion the way that you would like to take it away. But when you do the light taps, because you are tapping it really lightly, there is less stress through your forearms and hands. And I have noticed when I tap, used to tap, I don't tap too often these days, but I don't play in pressure situations too often these days either, yeah. But when you do tap, when you're in a pressure situation, the forward press comes so naturally for some reason. Anyway, I had a look at Rory McIlroy. He's a non-tapper.
Non-tapper, okay.
He's a non-tapper. I urge Rory to start tapping. Just give it a go. Just give it a go. See what happens. And Xander was just magnificent watching him tap away all week. Hey, look out for our bonus podcast with one of the greatest teachers, coaches of golf, and coaches in sport in this country in general. Steve Bann is his name. Mm-hmm. Look out for it this week, folks.
Friday.
It's coming out on Friday?
Friday.
Coming out on Friday. See you, folks. See if you can get home without going to jail.
All right.
Take it easy.
Cheers.
And thanks for listening to Talk Birdie to me. We appreciate you listening and getting involved. And a huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Without them, the show just wouldn't be the same. Watch my numbers. Download the app and turn your bogeys into birdies by analysing and improving your game like never before. The Golf Clearance Outlet. Awesome prices on great gear. You can see them in Melbourne, Sydney, Brizzy, Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. And Ping. See your local golf shop or professional to arrange a Ping Club fitting. They'll help you play your best. If Ping's good enough for Nick O'Hearn, well, that says it all. And we'd love you to get involved with the show. You can leave a voicemail with any comments or questions at talkbirdie2me.com.au or send an email or comment on the socials. And if you can share the pod with a friend, well, we'd love that. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design, Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com.
All right, so can I tell you guys, I don't think the girls are good in the Australian Open this year.
Well, before Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this year. I don't think they're going to have an Australian Open in 2024.
No Australian Open women's.
For the women. I don't think.
Wow.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I think the men might go ahead just by themselves in some form. It's looking more and more likely to be Australian Open late. I hope not. I hope that is incorrect.
Victoria, New South Wales, where you're leaning?
I don't think that's been decided.
Okay.
I think they'll go, if it's just men, I think they'll go where the money is, which would probably be New South Wales.
Okay.
That's what I would do. And then they might avoid an Australian Open light. But if it does come to Melbourne, I'm not sure 5 million is going to make it a big event.
Okay.
Anyway, they're only the things I'm hearing. Is that kind of silence working yet, Dan, or not?
No, it's not. You don't want to be critical because you don't know what's happening behind the curtain.
No.
But, gee, it's not an ideal outcome, is it?
Nope.
No, we're getting, towards the end of May, so let's hope we hear an announcement soon anyway. Just make a decision, go with it, and try and get the support of all the Aussie golfers that you can, and maybe a couple of internationals.
Let's move on. Let's get going.
Yep.
Let's go. Just let us know. Yeah. Let's get moving.
Hey,
and hopefully next year will be much, much better.
And you and I and Dan will promote the hell out of it.
That's right. That is correct.
Our favourite tournament.
See you on Friday, boys.